Yo, what is up YouTube, and welcome back to the bakery. In today's video, I'm going through my settings for the new Battlefield 6 multiplayer. Showing on the screen now is a quick run through of some of the more important settings if you just want the settings quick with no yapping. However, if you're looking for some of the settings explained, feel free to stick around and I'll walk you through each one individually. Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to be starting on accessibility. Now, when you load up the game, the number one setting you're going to immediately turn off is menu narration. That's going to be on. You're going to turn that off. You're going to turn subtitles off. While I'm going through this video, keep in mind, any setting that you see this little square beside here on the left side, that is a setting that I've changed. Everything else I've left on default, and there's some things that you may want off that I haven't changed off. I just played 11 hours straight. The game just came out today, and I just wanted to briefly get into a nice settings video so that you guys could have some good settings so you can get straight in and figure out the more advanced stuff as we go type of thing. So menu narration's off, subtitles off. We're going to be just heading on the ones that I've changed myself. Tinnitus SFX volume, turn that all the way down. That's like when a grenade goes off near you, the ringing, it's going to be pretty annoying. Turn that all the way down, you won't have to deal with that. Now next, we're in the graphics quality settings. Go into color profiles. We're going to click edit and then change that color preset to Tritanopia. That looks way cleaner on the colors, just makes the game look better overall. A lot of people were asking me about that. Very easy setting to change. Then I went to world brightness. I changed that to 58. This is dependent on your monitor. Mine's an OLED monitor. I prefer to have it a little bit brighter because the monitor is just a little bit darker, but that's completely up to you. Next, we're into camera effects. This one is a big setting. So weapon motion blur and world motion blur, turn those all the way down. You never want motion blur. If you do, I'll know what you're doing. Next is the infantry HUD motion. I have it on. However, I'm actually going to be turning that off because it's one of those things you can go either way. I used it off a little bit earlier, used it on a little bit, and I think I'm just going to take that off. Camera shake him out. I've got that on the all the way least. You don't want your camera shaking while you're playing. Then we have reduce sprint camera bobbing. I have that on to kind of limit the camera bobbing while you're sprinting. Chromatic aberration off and infantry crosshair projection off. This says when disabled, the crosshair is static and always aligned with the center of the screen. That's a really good setting. It's one of those smaller ones that you'd want off for sure. After that, we're in controls. Now these controls are kind of up to you. The only one in here that I've changed is the double tap crouch for sprint slide. This one is a very big setting to change. Every time you want to slide, if you don't have this on, you're gonna have to double click crouch, which is not that fun. I would definitely hit that setting. Other than that, we haven't changed a lot of the stuff down low. I've turned the tutorials off, and then all of the hints I would recommend turning off. Unless you just want the hints, they're not necessary. Okay, so heading into the gameplay section, I've only changed one thing in here. You'll see these, it says global at the top, and you see that little dot. It does say that I've changed something in here, but if you go and look, it's actually just that setting I've already told you about, that double tap crouch for sprint slide. The only thing I've changed on this one is the infantry aim sensitivity. I've left that on 20, and I use infantry mouse aim sensitivity, which I believe this is for controller. Yeah, it says adjust infantry control input sensitivity when aiming with controller. I don't use controller, I use keyboard and mouse, so I've only changed the one for mouse aim sensitivity and left that on 14, which is roughly equivalent to 4 cents in Warzone. So if you could kind of base it off of that, say you use a 5 cents in Warzone, you're going to be around 16 to 17 cents in this game, but it's something that you'll have to figure out for yourself depending on, what you like, honestly. Okay, lastly, we have a big section. I'm not really going to be going through any of the other ones because all the ones are pretty small. In audio, I've turned my music all the way down to 0, turned some of these down a little bit, but again, this is completely up to how you like your audio. However, graphics is really important. When you're playing a game, basically any game, I really recommend you just go straight into the graphics quality and you're instantly, these are the biggest settings that you need to be changing. I have everything on low or off except for texture quality. I either put that on high and sometimes even ultra because the texture quality is really important. It makes the game look good. Everything else is just extra. Depending on, there are some things that you may want over another, but as a safe rule to get the most FPS, you leave your texture quality high. Sometimes, if you're not getting the most FPS, you could turn that low if you want to. It just makes the game look worse. Everything on low, off, PCF on shadow filtering. Very easy to change these settings. If you go out of there, again, the world brightness I changed a little bit. The UA brightness I changed a little bit. We're going to go in the advanced section, and this is another big one. So you leave your resolution scale on 100. Frame rate limiter is off. Off on dynamic resolution scale. I left an enabled plus boost on my reflex low latency. Anti-aliasing, I changed to DLAA. In this game, it doesn't support off. It doesn't really change anything. So I'm using DLAA. And then everything else I've just left regular. And then after that, I use 115 field of view. I feel like I had better aim using 115. Somewhere between 105 and 120 is competitive. I wouldn't use less than that because you're just going to not see enough of your screen. And then 120, you can play on it if you want to. It'll be really cracked. After that, again, these are settings that we've already changed. A lot of these we've already went through. I use max third-person field of view for your vehicles, just you could see more, and then wide on your weapon field of view. Scroll down a little bit more. I have VSync turned off. And the only other thing, I use borderless sometimes. However, I do recommend that you use just regular full screen exclusive. You'll get the maximum frames this way. I don't recommend that you use borderless, but if you tab in and out, you hit your Windows key, you tab in and out a lot, then that's why I use it. And then after that, we just have some HUD options. Everything else, basically, we've just left the exact same. It's very, very, very simple in this game. And this is just kind of like a quick guide to just get straight into the game. No lollygagging. However, I have one more option that is very important that you change, so we'll get into that now. So we're into my documents folder now. You want to open up a folder. I know this sounds crazy, but I promise this will mean make or break for your weapons. What we're going to change now is the depth of field option. For some reason, there's no depth of field option to change it in the actual game, so you do need to go into the config to change that, which isn't too crazy. You need to do that in a lot of games, so I'll show you how to do that here. First, you go to your documents folder, then you go to Battlefield 6, Settings, Steam, then you go to profsave_profile. When you open this, it's going to prompt you, hey, what do you want to open it with? I use Notepad. If you don't have Notepad, you need to download it. So go to Notepad, just once, boom, and then we're here in the config. It looks really crazy, but all you need to do is find GST render and then find .weapon DOF. It's in alphabetical order and it's pretty close to the top, so it's very easy to find. On default, yours will be set to 1. What this does is it makes like the outline of your optic look very blurry and just nasty. So you change that 1 to a 0 and then make sure you go to File, Save, and then you close it. Boom, that's it. Very easy way to change that. It's a very important setting to change as well. So if you got anything from this video, make sure you change that in your config. Makes the guns look way, way cleaner. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Keep in mind, one thing that I did want to say is that the game literally came out 12 hours ago. I wanted to make sure that I got a settings video out ASAP, and these are the settings that I used on day one. There will be other settings that people figure out are better over some. So if those are some settings that you see down below, some things you see I maybe didn't change in the video, let me know down in the comments below. I'll pin those messages. Being helpful is just the best. I know that sometimes settings change and we have to move along with those. So put those ideas down below. If you did enjoy, let me know as well. But I hope you enjoy frying in the battlefield, and I'll see you around.